Noah?
I'm going to take a guess.
It's not what you think!
I'm going to say you forgot to write a witty opening.
Okay, you took a better guess than I thought.
Whatever. Do you want to just skip to the video?
Yes, please.
Alright then, let's do this. If any of you had any doubts about my love for cartoons, let me stop them here. I love cartoons, and so do a lot of other people.
In fact, if it weren't for the creation of cartoons, animated movies and specials probably would have never come to light. But we're not here to talk about movies. Cartoons started on television, and I think that's where they should stay.
Not to mention, it would be hard to talk about animated movies because of copyright and all that crap. So we're not even going to attempt to talk about that. If it has a movie, great. Honestly, lots of times the movies based off of shows are pretty good in their own right. However, we don't want to. So there.
That's some great reasoning you got there, Noah.
Hey, you're writing this, not me. If you're going to complain about the script, you don't have anyone to blame but you.
Alright, calm down. Don't get your panties in a bunch. Also, let's be honest, TV is just more fun to talk about all around. We have more to say, and it gives us more time to give some explanation. Also, let me remind you that this is by no means official. In fact, there's going to be a huge chance that you guys will disagree, thanks to the fact that Noah and I combined have seen a lot of shows.
Oh, and one more thing. Butler and Mai's opinion got a little convoluted, since we both have shows that we wanted to appear and had to settle where it would be. So you might be a little surprised with the placement of them.
Alright, there's not a whole lot more we can say.
Yeah, I think we're done here.
Oh, and the one very important thing to remember is...
Yes?
Spit
it out, man!
Poopajoo mask.
I hate you. You know, there are actually a lot of television networks solely devoted to specifically animated shows. These channels oftentimes have a great variety of what types of shows are on and what demographic they apply to. But every once in a while, a show comes on that was, at one point or another, made completely for small kids.
However, as time went on, these shows gained a larger audience, even being outside of children. Believe it or not, this has happened quite a lot with shows like Powerpuff Girls, Adventure Time, Sailor Moon, etc. and etc. Wait a minute, are we putting...
But downright one of the most interesting examples has got to be with My Little Pony and its fanbase, the Bronies and Pegasisters.
Wait, this is only number 10? Noah!
John, I'm not a brony. What did you expect?
Well, exactly this.
My little pony, what is friendship all about? My little pony, friendship is magic.
Yeah, like I was saying, I myself am not a brony. I don't watch the show religiously and I don't seem to get excited over the show as a whole. But don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I have nothing against bronies, and I can see exactly why they would like the show. I mean, seriously, why would I be doing a collab with a brony if I had something against them?
Hey Noah?
Yeah?
Do you mind if I go all fanboy for just 1 minute?
Really?
Please, just 1 minute?
Fine, but make it quick.
Alright. My Little Pony's got to be one of the best shows I've ever watched. The animation's beautiful, the storylines are all well done, and the fanfictions, when not creepy, are very well made. The characters are all very well developed and their own established personality traits. I honestly think with the growing popularity of the show and the recently released season 4 premiere, MLP future.
You done?
Yeah, I think so.
Good. Now, if you couldn't understand what he just said, let me say it in a nutshell. My Little Pony Friendship is Magic has been growing in popularity ever since it premiered in 2011. And ever since, bronies have become sort of the laughingstock of the internet, which I don't get. While it is true that it's a little odd for something like this to appeal to men, I do think that they shouldn't be laughed at. Just because someone likes a show that you aren't quite fond of doesn't mean you have to completely mock them. Bronies are a fan base, and I think they should be respected just as any other fan base. I can get why some people would be quick to judge, and I think it's completely strange. They should try talking to a brony. It's honestly not that bad.
Wow, Noah. I guess you really do know your stuff.
Hey, if you're going to be on the internet, you might as well act like a man.
Now, how about we talk about the actual show?
Yeah, I kinda forgot about that.
Alright, MLP is centered around Twilight Sparkle and her 5 friends, who harness the elements of harmony. These elements on many occasions have gotten them out of bad situations, and have overall helped them to survive and protect Ponyville. They also, throughout the series, have become best of friends and found how friendship can really help defend them. Throughout the entire series, both the elements of harmony and friendship have helped to overcome many foes, including the God of Chaos himself. And trust me, it's a lot cooler than it sounds.
But since they can't fill every episode with one big story arc, there are also episodes about random tasks, competitions, and even just daily lives in Ponyville. And while these episodes don't hold up as well as plot-driven ones do, they're still pretty enjoyable all around. There is also a smaller story arc of 3 little foils named the Cutie Mark Crusaders. For those of you who don't know what a cutie mark is, let me summarize. A cutie mark appears whenever that specific pony has found their calling in life, and what they're going to work as. Sort of like a college degree, but permanently stamped on you.
The Cutie Mark Crusaders are compiled of Scootaloo, Applebloom, and Sweetie Belle. And honestly, I'm getting a little sick of it. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy it to no end, but I seriously think this thing has been going on for quite a while now and needs to be stopped. Maybe in season 4? I also personally don't mind the fact that Twilight has become an alicorn, and personally, I'm actually quite fond of the design. If we see more of what's been in the season 4 premiere alone, I'm sure that this show is going to be looked upon with nothing but happiness. Other than that, the only real notable thing is Discord, who can literally make the sky rain with chocolates, and considering that Taste on Day is a brony, I'm thinking that's a little more than a coincidence.
Believe it or not, Discord actually has his own little arc going with his free formation process. This arc has so far only implemented 2 episodes, both pretty entertaining on their own right. They mostly consist of Fluttershy helping Discord to slowly become more good and use his chaotic powers for the good of all the ponies, and to help everyone in Equestria. However, being the god of chaos that he is, I get the feeling that this arc is far from over.
I believe you made me put this in number 10. I'll get you back for that.
Ooh, I'm so scared. Wait. This is number 9? This?
I told you I'd get you back! Now something you love is at number 9!
Why, you little... Now, are you going to put it any higher?
I can't!
Why not?
Because it's not just this low because I wanted to get you angry. It's also this low because of all the hate it's gotten over the years.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Alright, well, I just don't see why. Lunatics Unleashed was actually a very entertaining show with lots of humor, believable voice acting, and actually a unique premise.
I know! Looney Tune characters styled as anime badasses? How does that idea get hated on?
The same way the new Looney Tunes show got hate.
Point taken.
The main complaint about the show was that it was too illogical and didn't really follow the Looney Tunes formula. Really? That's how low people will nitpick? Freaking really? Okay, first of all, illogical? Seriously? Since when is Looney Tunes, a show about talking animals getting into several kinds of mischiefs, logical? The only way that would sound even the slightest bit like logic is if you were on shrooms.
Noah!
Hey, we have to work some dark humor into this somehow.
That still seems like taking it to extremes.
Whatever, man.
Okay, and 2. In 2005, Looney Tunes didn't yet have an established formula. The only thing that people really had to go on when designing it was talking animals and humor.
So, based on that criteria, I think this works. Another thing that this show really had going for it was the action scenes. Oh my god, the animation is like eye candy. Also, the humor is classic Looney Tunes style, over the top and oftentimes making no sense.
One character that is key to over-the-top comedy is Danger Duck, whose retorts and comebacks are some of the funniest things on the entire show.
Lunatics is also very awesome in the way it handles its characters. Apparently all the featured casts are descendants of the original cast. It was also much grittier than any of the previous Looney Tunes, being set in a post-apocalyptic future where everyone is in an intergalactic war.
How that never caught on makes no sense. That's the coolest idea ever! Warner Brothers also managed to connect previously isolated characters and even give some people speaking roles. And honestly, I think that Tech E, Coyote, and Rev Runner are just as funny as the original show.
Honestly, I just don't understand why so many people seem to dislike this show. It's a huge combination of about a million things that made the original so good.
The only thing that I think this show could have done a little better was with the character of Ace Bunny. Since Ace is pretty much a shoo-in for the main character, it would just make sense that they would focus the majority of the episodes developing him. But for some reason, they focus most of the episodes actually on Danger Duck, which is fine with me. But if they want to do that, I seriously think they should have designed him as the main character. It would have just run smoother in my eyes.
I guess I can agree there. But other than that, Lunatics Unleashed was a phenomenal show, and I can wholeheartedly say it doesn't deserve all the hate it gets. Disclaimer: the following TV show has strict copyright from Viacom, so sadly, you're just gonna have to stick with pictures for this segment. Don't blame us, blame Viacom. Hey John, I got you a present.
Really? What?
I'm only putting SpongeBob at number 8.
God, I hate you sometimes, Noah.
I know.
SpongeBob SquarePants, once a legend among animation, a hilarity masterpiece, has now become the laughingstock of Nickelodeon. Or, what's left of Nickelodeon, I should say. I don't know what happened. I really don't. But somehow, someday, this show stopped being funny. Hell, some of the worst episodes to ever come out of the entire series has come out in the past year and a half or so.
But honestly, before the Great Fall, as I like to call it, SpongeBob SquarePants was one of the damned funniest things on all of television. From ripped pans to a shrieking pineapple, SpongeBob always found a way to put a smile on our faces.
SpongeBob SquarePants is focused around the quite odd misadventures of a little sea sponge and all of his great friends. Or is he little? I don't know. I mean, he has a job, but does seem to have that childhood-like innocence. I got it! He's a man-child!
But hey, that's just a theory.
Stop!
What? Why?
Trust me when I say that you should never rip off a popular YouTube person.
Oh, come on, I'm sure that people's fan bases aren't that bad.
Noah, I'm going on this from experience. It caused hell for me before.
Okay then.
SpongeBob is also that very lovable character that I think everyone at one point or another in their lives has wanted to meet. You know exactly what I'm talking about. That guy who's always going to be there for you, who has a cheery disposition. At least when he's not being a total dunce.
And Patrick is an example of your really annoying neighbor who always gets in your business and ruins your day, complete with the idiocy and all.
Oh, and Mr. Krabs is exactly like a stereotypical greedy boss in the business world. Basically, there are a lot of relatable characters in the show, with everyone being a little stereotype. Except for Sandy. Still haven't managed to meet any Texan scientists.
Yeah, that is kind of a weird stereotype, isn't it? You'd think they'd make the southern one the idiot, but no. She's actually probably the most intelligent character on the show.
I'd have to agree there. And on a side note, out of respect, I don't think I'll mention what SpongeBob was originally going to be designed as and what it was going to be aimed to.
What are you talking about?
Google it.
Wait. It was... Oh my god!
Yup.
You mean it was...
Uh-huh.
No way!
You're reading it right now, Noah.
That's interesting.
So, besides SpongeBob's rather tainted past, it was actually pretty enjoyable. The first season of it consisted of SpongeBob meeting all of his friends that would later become the stars of the show. These include Sandy and Squidward. It also detailed SpongeBob acquiring his respected job at the Krusty Krab. What the hell am I smoking?
You know what I just realized? I know why SpongeBob keeps getting worse and worse with time.
Really? Why?
I'm assuming that they're actually slowly running out of ideas. After they ran out of the clever ones, they began to beat a dead horse to get the other ideas. And when that started to work out for them, they started making dead horses in a factory, and hired people to keep beating them.
Yeah, sounds about right. But honestly, I love this show. Even though it's now starting to rot away and is nowhere near the level of quality it used to be, I can't help but enjoy it. SpongeBob SquarePants was one of the very first shows I ever watched, and so I honestly think I'm blinded by nostalgia. No matter what happens, I'll always love this show. I'll always love the movie. And of course, I will always love the charismatic charm that this show captures that can't seem to be met by anything else.
I have to agree there. This show really is a kind of magic.
Yep. Now it's the type of magic that you sit your kids in front of the TV with it turned down, and they'll watch it for hours!
You know, as hard as we've been with Nickelodeon, it's hard to deny that they are not innovative. They basically started the age of cartoons. The company itself has found a way to make money in fun and creative ways, and I completely respect Nick for everything it's done for the industry. But I think it was easier to say that a few years ago.
Just like about every kids channel out there nowadays, the quality of the shows is starting to dip. Oh, it's nowhere near as bad with, say, Disney, but it's still pretty bad. Like seriously, compare shows we have now to shows they had then. They had iCarly, Doug, and on occasion, Looney Tunes. We're stuck with shows like Sam and Cat, The Winx Club, and Sanjay and Craig.
So instead of looking at the shows they have now, I like to look back and reflect on how great it used to be. One of the series that was really entertaining was a little show named Fairly OddParents.
Okay, here's the gist of it. If you grew up in the early to mid 2000s and you didn't watch this show, you had no childhood. Seriously, this had everything a kid loved, all mixed in. A supernatural creature? Check. A funny protagonist played by Tara Strong of all people? Check. And of course, a fun cast of lovable characters? Check-a-rooney.
Fairly OddParents is focused around a 10-year-old boy named Timmy. Timmy's life, well, sucks. He has an evil babysitter that literally wants him dead, two stupid parents that know nothing about raising children, and he is by definition a target for bullies. But all of that changes when one day he comes home to find two fish waiting on the table he has next to his bed.
It turns out that these fish are named Cosmo and Wanda and are actually what are called Fairly OddParents, which disguise themselves as household pets, when in actuality they are magical creatures that turn into fairies, which grant your every wish. And apparently, his parents are too stupid to realize that they didn't buy him fish. Seriously, they never question the fact that he has fish or where he got them from. But I'm probably overanalyzing. Thanks to the capabilities of this idea, the creators make sure to pack all the excitement in.
The show had several TV specials, which oftentimes had to do with his evil babysitter, Vicky. In fact, one of the most popular specials is about Timmy trying to defend the entire world from Vicky's wrath, before she could take over the world throughout the Gladiator channel. Trust me, it makes a lot more sense if you see it.
There are also several episodes solely based on Timmy and the trouble he gets into with his friends. And actually, they're very interesting to watch. They often end with Timmy realizing that what he is using is truly powerful, and he can't let it all go to his head, or he could destroy the entire world in one fell swoop. It's little messages like these that make the world go round. Well, the cartoon world at least.
The show was actually on for quite a while, so long that Cosmo and Wanda actually had a baby named Poof. After this character was introduced, the fanbase went nuts, writing letters and coming up with ideas for how they could include him in future episodes. The path the designers went down was, in my opinion, the best. Most of the episodes just about Poof are about him learning to control his magic and not becoming an evil anti-fairy. In fact, a little while after Poof was created, the creators of the show realized and added an anti-Poof. This character is honestly one of the funniest in the entire show.
Auntie-Poof and Poof often fight with each other, being how they're the exact opposite of one another. But these parts have me laughing in hysterics because of how downright ridiculous it is. Because they are both babies, they use rattles and weapons and often fight in magic kindergarten. It's just so well done how the little detail aspects are put in. They make it so much enjoyable and make it so much more funny.
Before the show was abruptly ended in 2012, there was actually a magic dog character introduced in the little time the show had left. Sparky was his name, and he appeared in every episode before the finale. Sparky was an alright character, but didn't really live up to the big reveal. No kidding, for 4 straight weeks, they hyped up the reveal of a new character coming to Fairly OddParents, one that was so magical. It was amazing! And the reveal was a dog. A fucking magic dog. It was a buzzkill, to say the least.
Fairly OddParents also had some televised movies starring Drake Bell that were meh. They were by no means bad films, but they really didn't do the series justice. Also, did I mention Drake Bell should get more work? No? Well, he should! Or at least something more respectable than this. Oh, and by the way, you should go check out Drake Bell's Twitter. It's pretty funny. He makes fun of a lot of pop cultural references. It's funny.
Hey, I just realized, we went the entire segment without mentioning Dinkelberg. Wait, I just ruined it, didn't I? Damn!
If any of you are fans of Cartoon Network and you didn't see this coming, you really might have something wrong with you. Seriously, over the years that this channel has been open, I don't think that it had many shows as funny and downright entertaining as the Total Drama series.
Now, when John first told me that this had to be on the list, I reacted using 3 words. What's total drama? As you could probably guess, John was not very happy. He ordered me to go watch the series on YouTube, which I did. And I had to say, it was pretty good.
Pretty good? This series deserves way more than that! In 2008, reality shows were just starting to become all the rage. With the hyper-popularity of Survivor, one little Canadian company named Teletube pitched an idea about an animated parody of reality shows to Cartoon Network. CN approved. So, they said they could air the pilot and see what the public thought.
So they named their first season Total Drama Island, a show involving 16-year-olds stuck on an island facing challenges thought up by their torturous host Chris McClain and Chef Hatchet, a horrible cook who serves them nothing but slop. This first season really nailed all the reality show cliches right on the head. Poor budget? Check. Every stereotypical personality? Check. The fact that the host seems to enjoy the pain and suffering of the contestants? Check.
So, after running an entire season of TDI, several personalities were established. But do you honestly think that the audience would just let this show slip away? Of course not! So, the second season was made, named Total Drama Action, and the prize money was lifted to a hefty $1 million! This season took place on an abandoned film lot and was actually the best made. It just seemed to show what every person would do in the situation of the kids, and actually delved into the rather creepy psyche of some of the players.
But there was one big problem with the final episode of the show. You see, in Canada and the US, people had different opinions about what they thought of the final 2. On one hand, we had Beth, a smart girl who was literally nice to everyone, even Heather, who was the most hated person on the show. On the other hand, we had Duncan, a punk rocker who always had a knack for stirring up trouble. As you could probably tell, the general consensus in the United States liked Duncan a lot more, as they could relate to him. But in Canada, the niceness just appealed to the common person. So with such differing opinions, what were they gonna do?
Of course! They would release one ending with Duncan winning in the US, while release the other with Beth winning in Canada. It seemed like the problem was fixed. But it came back to bite them in the ass later when Netflix wanted season 2 of the show. So, what were they to do? If they released Duncan winning, Canada would go berserk, and it also worked vice versa. But, since the producers were from Canada, they released their version instead. So, this was a little strange for me, seeing this ending. I have seen, of course, the US version, and believe that Duncan had won for several years. But according to Netflix, Beth won. I didn't know what to believe!
But John eventually just accepted it. Season 3 was named Total Drama World Tour. And yes, they actually fly all over the world for challenges in a plane. It might sound stupid, and if executed poorly, I'm sure it wouldn't have been. But luckily, the creators of the show knew exactly where they wanted to take the show, so they made it work actually very well. The only part that was actually exceptionally cruel was the elimination ceremonies. In this season, if you were eliminated, you literally had to jump out of the moving plane with very shoddy parachutes to help you land. Luckily, since all of the characters were present in the finale, it looks like none of them died.
The other, let's say, gimmick of Total Drama World Tour was that in every episode, the cast would have to sing a song that they'd come up with on the spot. Let me just say that some of the songs were more successful than others. No kidding. Some of this music I would listen to on the way to school, and some of it I never want to hear in my life again. This season also introduced two new characters named Alejandro and Sierra. Sierra was essentially a crazed fan that loved the show to no end, and Alejandro was essentially a male Heather. Cunning, selfish, and exceptionally mean.
Speaking of that, the final two of Season 3 were actually Heather and Al, which was met to mixed reactions. Let me just say it didn't end well for either person. I'm not going to spoil it because it's that good.
Season 4 is where things started to take a nosedive. There was an all-new cast, which I could have looked past. The one thing I couldn't look past, however, was that there were only 13 episodes. 13! And it's the same with Season 5. Although I will say that Season 5 is marginally better than Season 4, if for no other reason than the fact that some of the old cast is there as well.
But honestly, I like this series. It seems to follow all the rules that something needs to be entertaining. And the fact that it poked fun at Survivor was hilarious as well.
Hey Noah, it's that time.
What are you talking about?
It's my channel time!
Damn, I don't want to go there.
Too bad! See you guys there.